Ladies, if you are waiting to be approached, you want to hear this episode. Welcome back to Before You Do with Verlyn. I'm your favorite premarital coach and the auntie you didn't know you needed. Thank you for joining me today. Well, times they are a-changing. The dating scene is totally different today than it was 20 years ago. Actually, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And I'm coming to this conclusion more and more every day. I'm saying this because I am a premarital coach and a relationship coach, and I talk to women. And one common thing that I hear with single women is that they're not being approached. And I've said this before. So this episode, we're focusing on the solution or solutions in terms of being in a position to be approached. Okay. Right now, men, they're not chasing women like they used to. And we know this. And so these solutions will help put you in a position to be approached by the right man, by marriage-minded men, not the yo boys. And we're not looking to be approached by them. All right. So the first thing I have to say is, please, ladies, forget about what worked 15, 20 years ago. What that means, ladies, you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to step up your game in order to put yourself in a position, first of all, to be seen, and secondly, to be approached. Disclaimer, I am not advocating for anybody to go out and start chasing men. All right, let me be clear. I'm not saying chase men. However, I am saying you need to put yourself in a position to be found or to be chased. So the first thing, and I've said this in quite a few videos prior, ladies, we have to work on softening our faces and smiling. It sounds so simple. However, we can be out and about and so focused on what we're doing. We can have a million thoughts running through our mind about what we need to do when we get home, what's going on at work. And that shows up a certain way. It shows up as hard or it shows up as unapproachable. And so when I say soften your face, that means the tension, lose the tension. Practice smiling, all right? Practice smiling. I'm not saying laughing. I'm not saying giggling and just sitting there looking silly or flighty. I'm talking about a light smile, a smile that says, I see you. Do you see me? All right. Subtle. We're talking subtle. We're not talking brazen. I'm talking about that smile that says hello. It's not fast or fresh. It's not pushy. It's light. It's pretty. Just enough so that if that man sees you, he will understand that that smile is an indicator of a green light if he's interested. Again, it's a light, pretty smile that just says, if you're interested, I'm here. I'm here for it, right? Now, remember, we're talking about being seen. We're not talking about being obscene. There's a huge difference. We all know how you show up says everything about you. All right, let's move to another phase, okay? And this may be a little difficult for some of you, but you need to get used to it because you're going to have to employ some different tactics these days. There are different rules of engagement. You're going to have to move towards a little light flirting. Now, this is something some of you may have never done, depending on your age, okay, or how you were raised, but you're going to have to broaden your horizons. And what do I mean when I say light flirting? You do or say just enough to drop a hint to let a marriage-minded man know that, yes, you can approach me. Again, it's given a green light that if you're interested, I'm interested. It may be hard to believe, but men, in my opinion, need to know this because there are too many ramifications if they don't know and they approach women and all kind of foolishness can happen. So there's subtle green lights that we can give to make them put down the guard and say, oh, okay, I'm going to approach her. It's a difference between being seen and being approached. And we're trying to be in a position where if a marriage-minded man sees us, he knows, okay, I see her, but now I can approach her. Okay. And that doesn't mean going right up to the man, getting in his face. Hey, what's going on? You want to go out? I'm not saying that. All right. That may be a bit much for a marriage-minded man. Keep in mind, men still want to pursue. That's in them, okay? But they just have to know these days they tread lightly. And so, ladies, that's why we're coming up with these creative ways to give them the green light. So, like flirting, that could mean a compliment, all right? Nice tie you have on. Oh, I see you are wearing that hat. That suit is very becoming. Okay, if he's a man and it looks like he's looking a little rough, maybe he's been building something or cleaning up something and home improvement, or he works outside, you can say something like, it's nice to see a man that still works with his hands. It's not brazen flirting, right? It's just a small, light compliment that cracks the door open just enough. Subtle hints without chasing, without looking or being desperate. That's not what we want. If you struggle with compliments, all right, then you have to be creative in another way. Learn how to ask questions. Be curious, ladies. If you are in, let's say, a hardware store or one of the big box stores where you get lawnmowers and hammers and all of that stuff, be creative. You see a man, he doesn't have a wedding ring on, of course. You can ask, is it a difference between one screwdriver from another or one hammer than another? Or is this a good price for this? You can say, I'm thinking about a certain project. What kind of tools would I need for this? Get creative. Ask questions. It's okay. Again, you're just dropping a subtle hint by starting a light conversation. It's not like you're making googly eyes at them or something. If you're in a bookstore, notice I'm naming certain places, right? These are places you can meet marriage-minded men. If you're in a bookstore and you see a man, you can ask him, who is your favorite author? What book are you reading now? Or you can ask, what's the last book? You can ask, what are some suggestions? You might already have your book. You might ask questions. You're just giving the green light. That's all. Ladies, you got to work what you got. And that's the bottom line. All right. Let's say you're at a grocery store. We all have to eat, right? And you see a man, of course, always looking for that ring, and you're in an aisle and you see something way at the top. Let's say cereal. And he's tall enough. Make sure you're asking a man that's tall enough to reach up there. You're not trying to put him on the spot. Ask him, excuse me, would you mind reaching that box for me, please? Everything should be a please. Thank you. Because we want to use our manners. Using manners says a lot. How you speak says a lot. How you smile subtly says a lot. Can you hand me that pack of sheets up there, curtains, whatever, please? Whatever aisle you're in, look for something that's tall. It's called strategy, ladies. Ask him to hand it to you, please. Make sure you say thank you or I appreciate that. You don't stand there and wait for him to ask you something, right? After he gets whatever it is, a box of cereal, put in your cart and you walk right off. If he's interested, you've opened the door. He will approach you. He will say, oh, excuse me, and possibly start a conversation. All right. So again, we're not stalking people in the grocery store. We're not stalking them in the big box stores. We're just putting ourselves in a position to be seen and approached. All right. This is a funny story and it's a true story. My best friend has a son and he was in one of those big box stores and he was shopping and pushing a cart and he accidentally hit the cart of a young lady in that store. I believe he was not paying attention and she was standing, you know, how you stand in the freezer section and that door is open. So he hit her cart. And of course he said, I apologize. And he was really sorry. He didn't hurt her, fortunately. And of course, after he apologized and he looked at her, he was like, she's attractive. And so he asked for her number and asked her out after he bumped her cart. All right. He got her number. They went out. They're married today. This happened about 2 years ago. So what am I saying? That you'd be surprised at what can happen when you get out. Now, who knows? He might have purposely bumped her cart. I don't know. Maybe that's a way to approach women these days. So if somebody bumps your car, you might want to just say, let me see what's going on with him, right? I'm not suggesting you bump anybody's cart. Please don't do that. If it happens accidentally, that's one thing. Please don't go bumping people's cart and then saying you listen to a podcast and she was saying that's what we. No, I am not saying that. I just thought it was a funny and a very cute story because they are married today. All right. Remember this, ladies. Very key point. It is okay to be kind and speak and to say hello or how are you or isn't it beautiful outside? Or you might say something like, you know what? Most people love the sun. I like the rain. I appreciate hearing the rain. Whatever it is, it's okay to smile and speak and make light conversation if you're standing in a line. You ever been in a line and it looks like you're going to be there for a minute? It might be a good time to say, I love to hear the rain. What is the cost of being kind? Nothing. All right. This is the time, ladies, that if you want to be approached, you're going to have to get your courage game up and you're going to have to step outside of the normal box that you've been in and basically catch up with the times because again, times they are a changing. All right. And we have to be very strategic. And I'm not saying stress about it. I'm not saying you got to go and make notes. You have to be natural. We can do this. We know how to strategize. We know how to fix ourselves up, make ourselves presentable, and be at the right place at the right time. Next, and this is really important and sometimes overlooked because, ladies, we get busy. Let's put it this way. Life is lifing, right? And we're just thinking we're going to go to the same stores, do the same thing. We're in a routine because we're busy and routines are easier to live in when you're a busy person. Okay, a busy lady. But this is the thing. If you want to be approached by marriage-minded men, you will have to be where they are. And it might not be all the places you typically go. So you're going to have to reconsider going to the same grocery store week after week after week. And you might have to drive out of town, drive a few counties or cities over, visit another grocery store. All right, go somewhere else. Try a farmer's market. Try other places outside of the norm if you want to be approached. Go somewhere where the men are. This may be a touchy subject, but I'm going to step out here anyway. If you are in a church and there are 500 women and 7 men, and half of those are married, you might want to rethink that. Am I saying leave your church? Absolutely not. What I'm saying is you might want to visit some other churches. I'm not telling you to leave your church. Let me say that again. I'm saying you might want to go to a different Bible study. You might want to pick 1 or 2 Sundays per month and visit other churches. Broaden your horizon. If you're going to keep doing the same thing and going the same place, you're going to keep getting the same results. So if you go to the same church Sunday after Sunday, month after month, find different churches to visit. All right. Again, I'm not saying leave your church. Okay. When you look at your life and all the places where you frequent, if there are no men or no marriage-minded men, stop going there. And you don't even have to necessarily stop going there, but you need to add to your repertoire. All right. Take up a sport. Go to sporting events. Find a new hobby. If your hobby means you're in your house painting, find a hobby outside of your house. Take a motorcycle class. Take up a mechanic class at your local community college. Go places where men are. Take up golf. You might hate it, but so what? Just take it up. Take some lessons. Go there. Scope it out. All right? You never know. You might start something that you think you don't like and find out that you do like it, that you have a new hobby and you're putting yourself in a position to be approached. Okay? The idea of going where the men are, that's a whole separate podcast in itself. That is a part that's going to be in my future course where I am teaching ladies what it looks like to be out and about and to not move in the same circles. I'm putting that out in the very near future. Ladies, you're going to have to get your courage up to go out to places, again, where you've never been before. Go to network marketing events where businesses come together or business-minded men come together to meet and to network. These are places you need to go. Why? Because they're building something and you might be the person that they want or need to build with. But how will you know if you don't go? Even if you don't have a business, go anyway. You might find a business you want to support. Most importantly, you might be in a position to be approached by someone with a business/marriage mind. All right. This is very important. So far, I've been saying things do, do, do. Now I'm going to tell you what you don't. Be very careful moving in women circles. When I was single, before I met my husband, I only went out with one friend, maybe two at the most. It would be three, primarily one friend. I never went out with groups of women. I can tell you from experience, not just my own, but from women, period. Men do not approach, let me rephrase it. Men typically do not approach women in women's circles. All right. So if you're eating out and it's 4 or 5 of you, the likelihood of a man approaching you is slim to none. If you're out with one, it's possible, right? Most of the time, when I was going out, I was by myself and I was okay with that. I'm an only child, so I have never been a person. I had to have people around me. I had to have my girls. No, I have my friends. I had my associates, and we did things together. But primarily, I stood alone. And so it was easy for me to be approached because I wasn't with 4, 5 different women. In this era of dating, ladies, you're going to have to be a lot more intentional about being approached. And it may not be a space that you're used to being in, and yet here we are. So there's one of two things that you can do. You can either get with the program and you can get out there, or you can keep doing what you're doing and you're going to get the same results. So the things that I have stated just scratch the surface. I'm developing courses and they will do a deep dive. We're going to do a deep dive because what we want to do, ladies, is we want to show up as the healed and whole version of ourselves. You want the person that approaches you to be healed and whole. So that means you have to be healed and whole. All right. You will attract what you are. And that's something you have to remember. So these courses are going to put you in a position to be a healed and a whole woman. You want to put in the time and the effort to become the same person that you want to attract. And that's going to take some inner work, not just fixing up the outside, not just smiling, right? It's going to take the inner work of healing, of being joyful, the inner work of being happy, the inner work of being authentic. Yeah? All right. Thank you for joining this conversation. Please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share with 2, 3, or 4 of your friends. Visit my website at verlyntarlton.com and pick up your freebies. And soon I'm going to be gathering my ladies container in our group where we're going to get ready to be seen. But in the meantime, may you experience extraordinary love. Bye for now.